Good afternoon. My name is Doug Fair, Executive Director of the Symphony of Southeast Texas, and it's my pleasure to introduce our guest artist for the Broadway Divas program, Julie Murney. I'm sorry if I'm murdering your name, and Alli. Um, I will count on Maestro Tipton to take it away, as these are good friends, old friends of Chelsea's. So I will leave that to you all.
Great. Thank you so much, Doug, for introducing us. Ladies, welcome. We're so excited about our concert March 27th at 1 o'clock and also 7:30 at the Julie Rogers Theater. We worked together up in Connecticut several years ago on this particular program, and we're so excited about bringing you down to Southeast Texas. It's been a crazy year. It's been just a crazy year with the pandemic and everything, to say the least, and we've been trying to keep our concerts going, and we're glad you're going to be a part of this. Tell us what you've been up to, Julia, what you've been up to since the pandemic started.
You're basically looking at what I've been up to, which is called sitting on my couch with my little dog right there next to me.
Nice.
That's basically it. There have been times when I felt like I have been melting into my couch like some sort of weird sloth. It's been a very, complicated time. I am very lucky in that I'm one of those quasi anomaly people in New York City, in that I'm from here. And so my family is all very nearby. My parents don't live in the city anymore, but they're just an hour and a half north. And I have a car. So I have the means to go see my parents.
Nice.
So I didn't see anyone for the first, I'm going to say March, April, May, probably 3 months. I just stayed here. I went to the market, I walked the dog, repeat. And, but I get to see my parents, which is really nice. And I've been able to drive a few places to have just a day on the sand or something that's just not the city. But this will be the first time flying for me to come down to Beaumont this in a year, which oddly, coming from, leading up to the shutdown, leading up to a year ago, I just realized I was flying all the time. I was just constantly flying.
Sure.
And traveling and seeing new things and all that. So for that to suddenly stop was very because I love that. I love doing that. I love coming to Beaumont. I've never been to Beaumont. Yeah, let's go to Beaumont.
We're looking forward to having you. And Alli, I think you're in my home state where I grew up, North Carolina. What have you been up to?
Okay, well, we started the beginning of the pandemic in New York, where me and my husband and my kid live. And then we decided to drive across the country to California we spent about 6 months in California with my family. And then we decided, because why not? Let's drive across the country again and spend some time with my husband's family in North Carolina. So that's where we're at now. And then we're coming to Beaumont, and then we'll head back to New York. We're very excited to get back to New York. Little things are picking up. The fact that we're going to be singing with the symphony and you guys in Beaumont has been hope for me. And I tell you what, I was in my car listening to some beautiful music the other day, and I got so excited to be with you guys, to know that we're going to have live music together with a full orchestra, because it has been a full year since I have sung with a full orchestra, and I cannot tell you how excited I am. And to be in a room with audience members,
right?
Even if it's at capacity, it's small, this is the beginning of a lot of hope for the arts. And I can't tell you how excited I am to get to Beaumont with you guys.
Well, we're really excited about having you all here. Now, I know that your background has been, both of you have been with the musical Wicked, which came out in 2003, and it really made a big hit on Broadway. Alli, since we're just talking to you, what was your experience with Wicked?
Julia, I want to say, Julia, you were my first Elphaba.
No, I was.
You were my very first Elphaba. The very first time I went on for Glinda, Julia was my Elphaba, and she was, I feel like there was it was during Broadway Cares speeches at the end. So I think Julia was making the speech, and she let the audience know it's my very first performance as Glinda. And the audience was so kind. But I have to tell you, like, it was so generous of Julia to say that, because, you know, first time going on, I was nervous. And so it was like, I just felt a lot of love and warmth from my co-star, but also the audience. It was a very, very special evening, I remember. And then, you know what? That started like a ginormous, gargantuan journey with Wicked in the Broadway company, on tour in the San Francisco company. I've had a lot of, you know, awesome alpha buzz. But Julia will always be my first.
So
And
Julia
it's always
you were kind of a veteran of Wicked.
Somewhat. I mean, it's so funny. I mean, at this point, I did it so long ago. It was a long time ago.
Long time.
But and it's thank you for saying that, Alli. And it's interesting because you realize how things inadvertently get handed down. I mean, I somehow knew. I mean, obviously, I just wanted to honor you because you had just gone on for the first time, and I knew how difficult that was because I had gone on for the first time at some point, you know, and that's always hard. But I had seen other people in time gone by. I mean, I remember very clearly there was a revival on Broadway of A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, starring Nathan Lane. And a good friend of mine was an understudy, and she went on for the first time. And we like found out, and we rushed down to the theater to see her do it. And at the end of all of the curtain calls, Nathan Lane stepped forward to say something. I was like, oh, he's giving a curtain speech. What's happening? And he said, I just want everyone to know that an understudy is an incredibly difficult job. And tonight, not only did Jen go on for the first time, but this is her Broadway debut. And I want to, and we, of course, were like weeping. And but like, you see someone of his stature do something, and you go, oh, that's how you do it. That's classy. I want to be classy like that.
Absolutely. And you know, there's such a long tradition with Broadway. It's just really, and when you think of the great art centers of the world, New York City and Broadway is certainly that. And this pandemic has had a tremendous impact. Is Broadway, I don't know if this is to either one of you, is Broadway looking to reopen in the fall, or any word?
Nobody knows. It's a big mystery. I think my gut is based on nothing. Just make sure every listener knows that. My gut is based on zero. But my gut is that the hope is for the fall.
Okay.
I think it's much more complicated than just flipping a switch and saying Broadway's back. There's a ton that has to go on in order to actually get these shows running again, because they've been dormant for a year and a half at that point. And so, but I think that's the desire, certainly. And I think again, this is based on zero, but my guess is that maybe even regional theaters and touring and things like that could even come up sooner, because there are different things at play. I mean, was one of the special things for me about doing Wicked, is that I toured as well as did Broadway, and to go to all these different cities, sometimes for me for the first time, but wherever we were, Wicked is the kind of a show that people are so darn excited to see it, especially back in that day. I mean, we were hitting cities for the first time. So like the ticket demand was insane, and everyone was screaming like you were Mick Jagger on stage, you know, and you're like, who are you clapping for? Oh, me? Okay. And
no, that's
it was so thrilling to just be with audiences all over the country, to understand like Broadway's fantastic, but also there's such a deep roots of arts community across this country. And all of it has been shut down. So the ones that are starting to tiptoe back, it's very exciting.
Well, you know, in the symphonic world, we're starting to see orchestras come back to life and starting to have audiences. We've had to go to quite a bit of online type of live streaming. This concert will not be live streamed for our audiences. We've been doing that this season, but this one will just be the live performances. Perhaps, Alli, could you talk a little bit about the Broadway Divas concert program that you all have put together for our region here?
So Broadway Divas, do not be deceived. We are divas, but we're not like divas, and
I
you are.
I have worked with divas, and it's not much fun. You all are like down to earth, cool, and I think divas in this sense is that refers to your artistry. I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I mean, and here's the deal. It's also a night to celebrate all sorts of divas. Of course, we're going to be celebrating, Wicked, numbers from Wicked, which we were part of. I played Glinda in Elphaba. Did we even say that? I was Glinda and Julia was Elphaba. And then it's a celebration of all sorts of different divas, and we sing a ton of Broadway stuff, like stuff from Chicago and Frozen, some contemporary divas. It's just kind of a celebration of Broadway divas, and we even like throw in a little disco divas in there, if I'm being honest.
Oh, right. I should get the platform shoes for
Yeah.
kind of work that. The other thing that I appreciate about this program, and I remember this when we performed earlier, was that it gave the orchestra something to do as well. Because sometimes we do these programs and the orchestra is just playing background, long notes, and then you all are doing your thing. But we actually have some moments throughout the concert too, where we get featured, and also your arrangements are really, really good. They have a lot of things for the orchestra to play, and it keeps it interesting for our members as well.
I think that's one of, honestly, the most fun things about doing this stuff, is because I'm going to say pretty much without difference, every time we turn to someone in the orchestra and just start speaking to them while the concert is happening, they don't see it coming, and there's a little bit of like, so sometimes there's a deer in the headlight moment. Sometimes they're like, I'm ready to play. You're like, oh, okay, first violin, okay. And it's just, it is fun, because I think so many of these musicians, they're classical, incredibly trained musicians, and we're coming in with our show tunes, and we're like, hey, you want to sing a show tune? And I think I have had the experience with some symphonies where there's been a little bit of looking down their nose at it at first, but my goal is always, like, by the end of this weekend, I'm going to make them like us and like this program, and they tend to, because once they see, like, we're musicians, you're musicians, it's all good, and we respect you. We're not here to ask you to be our backup band.
Absolutely.
No, I feel like we are your guest. It is your show, Chelsea, and it is all about you guys, and we get to come just sing with you guys, and we love to feature you. If you only come for one song alone, the arrangement of Somewhere Over the Rainbow that the orchestra plays all by themselves is beautiful, and it leads right into the whole Wicked segment. There's a whole Oz theme, but that's Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It is all about the orchestra, and it is beautiful.
Well, we're excited about having you all to come, and regardless of what type of concert it is, gospel music or classical music or Broadway, we always stress here, and with orchestras around the country, bring your highest level of excellence. Good music is good music, and we want to share good music with our community. We hope that people will come out. Again, that's March 27th at 1 o'clock and 7:30 p.m. This will be at the Julie Rogers Theater. We will not have the live stream access for this particular concert, so get your tickets. Come on down. We'll have you socially distanced. These ladies are amazing, and they're amazing not only for their wonderful voices, but how they bring the audience onto the stage. Alli, Mauzey, and Julia Murney, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to sharing you with our community.
Thanks, Chelsea. See you soon.
Thank you both.